Well, I gotta say, Sakura really impressed me in this one, and if ever there was a chapter that should be named Girl Power, this would be the one. Very, very good stuff.
Naruto number 54, Sakura and Ino.
Ah, boy. It's the Sakura show. The chapter is called Sakura and Ino, but it should have been called Sakura Whips Some Ass. Woo! Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the awesome and action-packed girl power empowering episode, chapter, whatever you want to call it, Tale of Naruto. Sometimes they get a little off-kilter there, and it's all ad-libbed, not rehearsed, nothing's written down, you know, so it's just all straight from here. Anyway, our last chapter saw us with Sakura, of course, at the end of it, just, you know, being kind of manhandled, literally, by some men or young boys. And, you know, the ninjas from the Village of Sound. And one of them was holding her by her hair while they were going to force her to watch them kill one of her friends, you know, Lee, Sasuke, or Naruto. And she just goes and slices her hair off, just whips it off at the end because she's about done. She's done being the victim. And that's what I liked about this. I liked this because it empowered her, and even though I'm not a girl, I have 3 younger sisters, and I'm married, so obviously, you know, to a woman, and you know, so things like this don't bother me to say. But honestly, you read a chapter like this, and I could see women running around, girls running around, going girl power, because this was some ass whipping to the 10th degree. It was very, very cool. I like to see us. Now, so far, the ninjas from the Village of Sound, none of them have really even taken any damage. I mean, if you think about it, you know, Lee wound up using his Lotus technique, but it didn't do anything. It wound up not doing anything at all. And unfortunately, nobody's really touched these 3 stooges yet, right? So we wind up finding out the guy who was holding her hair, his name is Kin, and that was the one that they hadn't introduced yet. So the chapter left off, obviously, where she cut off her hair. That's where it picks up. And then, you know, right away, you know, his little cohorts over there, you know, Zaku or whatever, and the other guy, oh, yeah, you know, just kill her, take care of her, right? So as he goes to come, she starts doing all these signs and shit, and it's cool because she looks all badass with her short hair now and everything like that, kind of like sexy, longer bangs with a little shorter in the back. Looks cool. And she starts doing all these, you know, doing her signs and whatnot, and he's just like, so he goes to just, you know, nail her, right? And as he goes and smashes into her, she used, she'd used the art of substitution. It was just a log, right? So he's like, oh yeah, you're just a one-trick pony and this and that. So then all of a sudden you see her coming from, you know, from the other side or what have you, and so he goes and, you know, nails it, and it's another illusion. It's another one, you know, and he's like, yeah, we can do this all day. Now you're just gonna come from above. So he looks above, and there's Sakura coming down at him, you know, and he goes and tries to deflect, because remember, he's got the what was that called? He's got that the different moves that he can do with the sound, you know, sounds that slice air and stuff like that, things of those natures. So that's what he's firing out, you know, instead of the usual like throwing star or kunai. And I'm sure maybe they can use those as well too, but maybe amplify them with the pitch, the tone, you know, of the sound and whatnot to make them even more deadly. I don't know. Nonetheless, though, he winds up. This was a cool one because, you know, 3 times is a charm. So he fires him up there, and then he's like, "Where are you gonna come from next?" And he doesn't even pay attention that it wasn't a substitution to begin with, right? Sakura just comes down into his ass and whoosh, and it's just this great shot of her coming across. It looks like his face, chest, whatever. Blood comes spewing out of him as she comes across with the kunai, and I'm just like, go Sakura, you know. And then she goes, and as if that isn't bad enough to add insult to injury, once she made this little punk-ass bleed, then she goes and she's like, "Harr!" And like a feral dog, man, just clamps down on his arm and starts biting, and she ain't gonna let go. She ain't gonna let go, you know? She's like a damn junkyard dog. I love it. I love it. Love it. So anyway, then we go into this several-page flashback as Ino and her seller are watching on, and we see this background, this history between Ino and Sakura. Sakura, everybody's always made fun of her for having this big forehead, right? And she used to just kind of wear her hair all kind of messy and hanging down in front of her face to try to cover up the forehead, right? And when she meets Ino, they show us this little flashback of them, which actually was kind of touching. It was, you know, this kind of, this is a little cheesy, but kind of touching too, I thought. The feels were there. And Ino winds up kind of taking her under her wing and saying, and kind of doing up her hair different and parting it to the side, putting a bow in it. And Sakura's like, yeah, but my forehead. She's like, listen, the only reason people make fun of it is because you try to hide it and you draw attention to it and they know it bothers you. Show it off! Who gives a shit? And I kind of like that because, like in Tyrion in Game of Thrones, anybody who watches that, Tyrion winds up saying to Jon Snow in the first episode, he's a bastard, and he Because you're a bastard. Wear it like pride. Don't forget you're a bastard. Don't let it go. Nobody else is ever going to let you forget it. So why not, right? So I kind of like that theory of it, you know. It's like, hey, don't worry about it, you know. I have bad eyesight. I make fun of myself all the time with things, you know. So it used to bother me when I was younger, and I used to be, so I kind of get where she was coming from. That was my whole point. Didn't mean to get off on a tangent. But this flashback is actually kind of touching, because as it goes through, you can see that, you know, Ino kind of brings her into the crowd, you know, into the fold, and, you know, into kind of the cool catty girls, whatever, you know, whatever you want to call them, but into her little clique. And anyway, then she starts liking Sasuke, and, you know, she thinks that he likes longer hair on girls or something, or she heard that he does, so she's going to grow her hair longer. And then you kind of see, and it unfolds over 5 or 6 or 8 pages, and you see the kind of rivalry start to unfold, because then Ino turns out that she likes Sasuke. You know, they're going to be rivals, blah, 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 so they kind of stop talking to each other. And a lot of that stuff is funny, because that's absolutely true. And not just of girls, pretty much of any, like, just friendship or relationship from, like, I'd say, like, high school, like, down. You know what I mean? It's like you can gain or lose a friend based on the whim, the changing of air pressure that day, if it's raining, if somebody else became friends with them, they don't like all kinds of stupid bullshit, because it's just all hormonal stuff that's going on in a lot of people's minds. And so it's neat to see that, you know, because you see, okay, well, that's, you know, fictional world, but, you know, ties to real world. Anyway, so the whole idea of this was that showing that Ino winds up saying at one point, you know, you'll never show me up, right? And then Sakura winds up at one point, you know, saying to her in this flashback, oh, and now, you know, now I'm much better than you. Sasuke's on my team, blah, 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 you know, this and that. But that's where the whole thing from Ino came, you know, you'll never show me up, right? So then it comes out of the flashback, and she's still biting down on this dude's arm, and I'm just thinking, oh, yeah. I was clapping the whole time thinking, man, tear his arm off, you know? And because she's clamping down on that thing. And then in a couple panels, you can see like whap, whap. So I'm assuming that he's like trying to hit her or elbow her or whatever to try to get his arm free. And she's just biting down on that son of a bitch, you know. So I thought that was cool. Anyway, she winds up finally letting go of him, I guess, or whatever. And it looks like I don't know if it's maybe he's temporarily down and one of the other ones comes for. But the last page of the chapter, as well as the volume. And here, first of all, we got to see that. That's actually kind of cool. Now it's your turn. And this is where, for me, Sakura decided that she wanted this chapter is where she wanted to stop being the victim. She wanted to stop letting others defend her and take care of her. And she even goes through this inner monologue where she says, you know, I'm always not paying attention to what I'm supposed to be doing, getting better and being better at this whole ninja thing, right? Not being on the same level as them, because I'm always pining over Sasuke, hating on Naruto. Even this guy Lee likes me and was willing to go and jump into this fight and lay his life on the line for me to defend me. I'm tired of being the victim, and that's what I liked from this, you know. Very cool stuff, very empowering, like I said, very much girl power type of stuff, you know. So, and I can say that comfortably because I'm comfortable with my manhood and sexuality. So, but anyway, we wind up getting last double-page spread of the chapter and the volume right as Sakura's about to get jacked up. Ino jumps in over there, which is great, because Sakura's like, what the hell, you know, like, what's going on? I mean, she's spent. She's getting beat on by this dude while she's chomping on him, you know. And then we get this, oh man, the freak show just goes on. And then we get Ino, Sakura, I told you, I'd never let you show me up. You know, and there's to be continued in the next volume. Which luckily, I have. I have the next 46 volumes, I believe, 45. So so it'll be good for a little while. But that's how the chapter ends off, and of course the volume. And really, man, it's cool. I'm having a ton of fun with it, and I like that they fleshed out, at least in this particular portion, a character that really had, up until this point, I had kind of relegated to, you know, just sort of this damsel in distress, this I always need help, I'm just here as a plot device for somebody to save me. And I like that she's at least fighting back. And out of everybody, she's the only one that's actually done anything to any of these damn sound ninja goofballs. So that's how the chapter ends off. And my chapter question for you, though, brothers and sisters, is really, what are your thoughts on Sakura and kind of her change from being the victim to I no longer want to be the victim and I want to fight and stand up for myself and be useful as opposed to being useless? Let me know what your answer to that is in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it. And subscribe if you have not done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next one, Nation.
So if you could follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and my other channel, it'd be much appreciated.